What is up? Welcome to Tomahawk'd, the first episode of the 2024 baseball season. We're getting ready to kick things off with an MLB preview. This show will not be as Braves heavy as all the future shows because we just kind of want to do an overall preview. And honestly, there's not a ton to talk about with. We can talk a little bit about the Braves to start, but there's not a ton to talk about. It's really just a lot of settled positions.
Yeah, the big news is that Strider's going opening day, and it looks like Kalenic's going to platoon, at least for now, in left field with, Adam Duvall.
Yeah.
Hopefully Adam Duvall only hits home runs, because anytime he's on the base paths, it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But he is an above-average defender at all three outfield positions. So.
And he can play all three.
Yeah.
He was, I believe, our center fielder on the World Series team because that's how fucking shallow we were. And I mean, Anthopoulos' trades were great, but none of the dudes he brought over could really play defense, which is fine.
Yeah.
Worked out.
Yeah, worked out great. So
yeah,
whatevs.
I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, so we're gonna run through all the gambling odds and who we think our picks are, and also who we think maybe some value picks are to win divisions, win the National League, so on, and American League and World Series, so on and so forth. Cy Young winners, MVP winners, and just any other random thoughts we have about the teams along the way. Also, a quick housekeeping update. We've been getting ready for March Madness bullshit all week. Now that has begun, I'm gonna this weekend send out or get everyone's emails for fantasy baseball, and we'll have that ready to go and ready to draft before the season starts literally in a week.
So keep an eye on.
Actually, the season's technically already started.
Well, technically, but that shit doesn't count. Keep an eye on Drinking Bros Sports for all of that.
I will make a thread, drop your email in there. I'll sort you into a league. And yeah, it'll be fun, like it always is. So yeah, let's get in. Let's dive right into it. We'll start with our own division. Start with the NL East. I don't think there's a lot to talk about. I don't think there's going to be a very competitive division.
No, it's
Pick
not.
up that microphone, you bitch, if you're going to.
This booing from the fucking crowd, the rafters over there. Yeah, well, Philly's got a good team.
They do, unequivocally. The
Marlins have some good young pitching, but they lost Jorge Soler. I think the Marlins are going to have a pretty big regression this year. The Nationals still don't have an actual Major League Baseball club, and the Mets have shed some of the only players they even had and signed no one, right?
The Mets are in a rebuild.
They're in a soft rebuild right now. They should get rid of everybody, frankly.
It's crazy they kept Alonso. Although, I will say, so I was talking to my brother about this.
He's 30. So I guess that's part of it. Like, we don't know how he's going to age because he was a late bloomer, too.
For sure. Yeah, he was. And I think he was a rookie at like 26.
26 or 7, yeah.
Yeah. But one thing, though, with teams and going from soft rebuild to hard rebuild or whatever is, I think there are some front offices that maybe think they'll get more value at the deadline than in the offseason.
It's possible. You know who else thought that was or who should have been thinking that, rather, was the Chicago Bears. Because they beefed that Justin Fields situation about as hard as you can.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not the worst idea, because you might be able to do something where, honestly, if I were them and I had a prime person that had interest in the market, I would be trying to offload Lindor as well, because there's
no reason for him to be there.
That is a completely upside down contract. He is terrible. Based on the wins above replacement he's generating, that amount of salary is ridiculous. Well, now, I know it's New York, but fuck, man.
What's worse is that a lot of his wins above replacement is basically it's off defense.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never been people like he'll put up some stats sometimes with home runs and stuff, but his WRC plus is always under 120 basically, which is fine, but it's not like a $300 million guy.
No. He had 31 home runs last year, so that's something. Stole 30 bases his first 30 year, I believe. Yeah, it was.
But you know what, though? It's fucking window dressing with, if I remember correctly, I have to look at his Fangraphs page real quick, but it seemed like a lot of empty calories.
Yeah, it was. They haven't really gotten a lot of value out of that contract, and you got to think he's 30 now. This is about the time when a middle infielder starts going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So who knows, man?
Actually, credit where credit's due. He did have a lot of bad years, Francisco Lindor, or like mediocre years. He had one great year in 2018 with Cleveland, 132 WRC plus, 38 home runs, blah,
yeah,
blah.
He got like an 8 wins above replacement that year too.
Yeah. And then it was 118, 105, 101. So 3 years in a row being not a $300 million guy. But last 2 years, 125 and 121, 6 and 6.6 wins above replacement. Still would offload him. Because why do you have him at this point?
Why waste the money? But then again, you got to spend it on. It's the Mets, right? So they have plenty of money. That's not a problem.
No, yeah.
So maybe they stick with him. Who knows?
But the Braves minus 240 to win the division, which is the second best odds in baseball to win the division. The Dodgers are actually quite a bit heavier favorites.
We'll see about that. Well, the Astros are minus 110 as well.
Yeah, there's only a couple minus, but or four. There's 4 minus. We'll get to the other one because that's funny. I actually like, honestly. It's normally we like plus odds, but minus 240 is not bad value for the Braves. There, it's shorter odds than I thought it would be.
And it's a team that's kind of built for the regular season. I mean, we'll see.
Been the problem.
We'll see how it goes. Having Strider and Sale and Fried, 1, 2, 3 in your fucking rotation going into the playoffs, you got to feel good about that. We'll see how it goes.
Sale's alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a team, and as much as Dan is probably annoyed at hearing us be like, "Oh, we're obviously going to win the division," but that's been the problem with this team most of the run, right? Even the year they won the World Series, that was kind of a weird year because there were so many injuries. Every other year of this divisional title run, they were surprised in 2018, but then 19, 20, 22, well, fuck 20, I guess, but 22 and 23. These were a team that was great and built for the regular season.
Yeah. I don't know that it's necessarily the composition of the team as much as it is the circumstances and the momentum. Having days off and then going back to play is fucked. I don't like it. Yeah. Having to come from behind and being in a playoff mindset as the playoffs are coming and not having to use a few games. Like the first series is going to be 5-game series, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have a few games to fucking get into the zone. You got to fucking be in the zone when you get there. I think it's a great benefit. Those teams that have to play play-in games or teams
the play-in series is now because the play-in game actually didn't have much of an effect on momentum. Adding extra days to it really fucking does. I mean, it's not basketball or fucking it's not football.
Yeah,
a bye. I don't think a bye benefits you in baseball that much.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Now, let's go straight down the list. The Marlins next. I don't think Jazz Chisholm will be on the Marlins by the end of the season. I think they moved him to the outfield to make him more marketable. It wasn't just about
for sure
homeboy coming in from the Twins. I think they moved him in, or Luis Arez. I think they moved him out there to make him more marketable to trade. He's their best player other than Arez. I mean, Arez he's a slow version of Ichiro that doesn't play great defense.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, he gets singles. Great. Leadoff hitter, whatever.
Sure.
Fucking cares. He's going to hit 340 maybe. That's great. But Jazz Chisholm's their best player, at least. I
think unequivocally, yeah.
Like, ceiling-wise, he's definitely their best. I don't expect him to be on the team by the end of the season. He's going somewhere else.
It's very bizarre because I understand what the Braves are doing. I understand what the Phillies are doing. Both of those teams are built to win in different ways, but they're both unquestionably built to win. I think they're both more or less the exact product you want to have going into a season.
Yeah.
The Mets, soft rebuild. The Nationals, hard Astros type of fucking rebuild. I don't know. The Marlins are one of those teams that's just in fucking purgatory.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't. I don't think the management is doing a very good job, frankly.
Well, they just fired that chick.
Yeah.
Well, they're not fired, but
they didn't. Yeah, they chose not to re-sign her. But like you've got players like. Well, they signed Tim Anderson to play shortstop,
which is a
reclamation project. Maybe it works. Unlikely that it will. He's never been a great hitter. He had one good home run season.
Yeah,
and he hit 300.
And he had that fun walk
off of the Field of Dreams game. Yeah, but for the most part, man, they've got Alcantara and they've got Jesus Luzardo and Yuri Perez. They have 3 guys that could at least have an outside shot at the Cy Young, right? Like young guys too. So if I
love Luzardo.
Luzardo and Perez are great. So Alcantara's getting older. It's time to trade him, right? Like he's not going to be.
He's got I think kind of peripherals issues.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't strike out enough people. That's his issue, right?
Yeah.
But you put him on a different team, maybe somebody can work with him, right? He's out with Tommy John. I don't know when he got it, but he'll come back eventually. I think they might trade him as well, to be honest. And just like those are your two most valuable pieces. So I think they should probably look. Well, we'll see how the season goes, but the Mets don't have anybody.
I mean, they've got
Singa.
They've got dudes
as a pitcher
to trade.
They have Singa as a pitcher. They've got Alonso and
Lindor.
Kana is okay, right? He's not bad. That kid,
they actually do have a couple little scrappers. That would be good.
And that dick that plays center field for them is a little scrapper too. I can't remember his name. The lefty. What's his name?
Oh, I'll look it up real quick. I can't. Yeah.
He's pretty good as well. But all the pitching's gone. It's just Singa left, right? He's the only one left on that roster that's a top line pitcher. But I don't think they're expecting too much.
You talking McNeil or
Nimmo?
Okay.
But Jeff McNeil's a serviceable guy as well.
They do. I mean, they got a lot of guys like that. Where's Tommy Pham now? He's not still in the Mets, is he?
No, but the Braves had his agent reach out to the Braves, and they're like, nah.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, he is still unsigned, I think.
Yeah.
Because the Padres were talking to him because the Mets had already traded him, I think, or something he was on the D-backs. He was on their World Series team.
Yep. Now, so the Mets, you can expect 75 to 85 wins out of them max. Yeah, 85 would be a lot for them.
A great season for them.
The Phillies probably are going to hinge on whether or not Trey Turner has a shitty April and May again. If he comes out and hits 150 in April and May, they're going to be behind and they won't win the division.
They can only have one guy hitting 150, and that's Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah. You'll know by like late April if the Phillies even have a chance to win the division. Now, if he performs right out of the gate, it's going to be a race all season long, and it may come down to who stays healthy, to be honest, because both teams have good pitching, both teams have good hitting. The Braves are quite a bit deeper in both of those respects.
I believe the Braves
depth doesn't matter if you don't have injuries, right? So staying healthy matters.
I think the Braves depth is bigger, certainly, including just depth actually of lineup in starters. I think the Braves lineup goes further. Although I do think the Phillies lineup is goddamn insane.
1 through 5, it's really good.
Yeah.
After that, it's
I think the Phillies
marginal.
Probably lose a win or two on defense and bullpen.
Maybe. Well, so one of their bullpen isn't great, but the defense improved markedly last year. And it wasn't just because of Trey Turner. Like Castellanos' defensive rating, he won a goddamn Gold Glove last year.
Know.
His defensive rating went from, I think it was -3 D-WAR. I think it went up to like 1-1 D-WAR positive.
And I want to say
that might be the biggest, from one season to the next, that might be the biggest difference that I've ever seen before.
And I want to say, I could be wrong on this. This might just be me having some random eyeball test moments that don't add up. It might be anecdotal, I guess, but I remember Harper actually playing a better first base than who was the dude who got hurt? Was it Bohm or Rhys Hoskins?
Rhys Hoskins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harper's going to play great no matter where he is. To be honest.
He'll be DH in first base this year, I believe.
Yeah. I think he's primarily playing first, which is great. Too, yeah. That's good for the team too. I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, his defensive WAR went up by. Oh fuck! I can't find it. Anyways, but then you've got Schwarber in left, right?
Not ideal.
So no matter what, it's not a great defensive team.
Right.
Like by any stretch of the imagination. So, maybe they lose a little bit on that. And later in the season on the depth thing, I mean, I think for the best thing that can happen for the Braves is that Trey Turner comes out smashing everything, and they're down 6 or 7 games in July, and they have to come back, win the fucking division, and go in hot into the playoffs. That would be the best case scenario.
I honestly,
because the way they've been doing it the last couple of years is obviously not working.
Running away with it has not helped.
No.
At all, because they ran away with it in 19 as well.
Yeah,
and that was before the bye or whatever. But they still got. And I guess they took the Cardinals to 5.
I mean, this shit happens in gunfights. It's like there's a lull, and after you get all amped up and shit, and there's a lull in the gunfight, all your adrenaline's gone. So you're just sitting there and you feel tired as shit. You feel shitty, depressed the whole time. I have to assume that playing a bunch of meaningless games in September feels a lot like that. It feels like spring training, probably, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think you probably maybe start to develop some bad habits and at bats and stuff like that. You start getting a little lazier.
Especially when you have guys like Acuna who, like, he likes to have fun playing baseball.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad he does because it generates a lot of cool shit, but also maybe take it seriously because it's fucking, you're pissing me off. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't expect anything at all out of the Nationals, obviously, so you can fuck off with that. It'll be the Braves or the Phillies in this division, for sure.
With the NL West, the Dodgers, monstrous favorites, minus 450, although wouldn't be surprised if those odds got taken off the board.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. This is at least going to be an investigation.
Yeah.
And this is the second time in 3 years, by the way, that the Dodgers organization has been wrapped up with something in Major League Baseball. The other one was Trevor Bauer, who shockingly still doesn't have a job.
Well, neither does Jordan Montgomery or fucking...
Jordan Montgomery's going to sign with the Rangers, right?
You think so?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, there's different reasons why Bauer versus Montgomery does. Yeah. But, I mean, goddamn, Blake Snell only got signed a week ago.
Yeah.
And he just won the Cy Young. But it is crazy to me that someone won't take a flyer on Bauer.
For the league minimum.
Yeah, for the league minimum.
Which is what he said he would take.
Yeah. He's already got his money. They made the Dodgers pay him.
Yeah.
So it's as far as money goes, he's fine.
Yeah.
Although now he probably regrets not taking a $200 million deal at the time, I'd imagine. Because he was doing, until that happened, something really intelligent, right? Which is just, I'm going to take
deals,
and just keep getting more money. Because the rate, any, like we've talked about before, long-term deals that seem humongous at the beginning end up being decent value about halfway through just because of how quickly the market accelerates
inflation
upwards.
And everything,
Yeah. The Dodgers, huge favorites. No surprise there. I think the West, I actually do think the West is deeper than the NL East. But I don't think any of the three teams behind the Dodgers are as good as the Phillies.
No, certainly not.
Although the Giants
have enough pitching to make it fucking interesting. And
they added Soler.
Yeah.
The D-backs, by the way, like they keep their top two in their rotation with Gallen and Kelly. I forget his name, but anyway, their top two in the rotation. Plus, they signed Jock Peterson. I think both the Giants and D-backs have really, really compelling teams, and I think they are. I think there's going to be a little bit more depth to the National League than we give it credit for. I think the Phillies are probably the third best team in the National League on paper.
Yeah.
But if they play the way they've played the last 2 years, which is, I mean, they've basically had bad starts, right? Because the Phillies, I think, after June last year, had a better record than the Braves. They were on fire. But they had to dig themselves out of a big hole. And I think the year before that, it was a little bit similar, not quite as pronounced. But the D-backs and the Giants are two of the teams, along with a couple teams in the Central that we'll talk about in a minute, that I think could threaten to box out a team like the Phillies in the playoffs if things go well.
Yeah. Now, the Dodgers also have some problems, right?
They have serious depth problems.
Not just Ohtani's bullshit, but they've had to move Gavin Lux off a shortstop already.
Yep. So now Mookie's going to be at short.
So Mookie's going to be at short.
A position he has basically never played?
He's played a little bit. His career, maybe 30 games. His career, what do you call it? Fielding percentage is .946, which is bad for a fucking shortstop. That's really bad. It should be in the 99 range.
Yes. Now, to an extent, it's hard to bet against Mookie Betts because he's above everything else, like a freak athlete.
Yeah, but shortstop is not a freak athlete thing. It's a feel thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to, there's an internal clock you have going into the hole or going to your right about how much time do I have to throw this guy out at first base. And it's something that happens over years of playing that position. And that is going to cost them runs.
Almost no one gets moved to shortstop.
Yeah,
you either start as a shortstop, spend most of your whole life as a shortstop, and then maybe get moved off of it. Chipper started out as a shortstop.
Cal Ripken, fucking A-Rod. A bunch of Hall of Famers have been moved off at shortstop.
Yeah.
Moving into it, I don't know if I've ever seen that before, ever.
It's rare.
Literally ever.
Well, it's either rare or out of desperation.
Yeah, so that's going to probably cost them some runs. Now, you're lucky to have Freeman over at first. He's one of the best first basemen defensively, even though the advanced metrics hate him.
Don't care.
As far as digging balls out.
Yep.
And he's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", so he's big. So if the errors are throwing errors, then
he'll be all right.
He'll be okay.
I don't expect it to be throwing errors because, I mean, Mookie's got a hose, too.
Well, I mean, accuracy-wise might be the issue, but who knows?
I think he's pretty accurate. Well, I do think he's going to have serious, like, sort of just spatial awareness issues.
That and range at shortstop is different, man.
Yeah.
It's like you got to know. That's why the shortstop usually has a pitch comm in their ear, so they know what pitch is coming, right? Because you're covering a lot of fucking ground over there. And we'll see.
I'm sure their scouting department is scrambling like a motherfucker to work on positioning for Mookie to get him in the exact, millimeter of where he needs to be.
But then you have third base is going to be
Muncy?
Either Muncy, unless he's DHing, which he may DH. And then the guy who's taking the most reps at third base in spring is Kevin Padlow. He's played for a bunch of teams, but not very much, and his career batting average is 111.
So this isn't your older brother's LA Dodgers. This isn't the 2017 Dodgers. This isn't the 2020 Dodgers.
No, they've got Betts. I would expect Freeman second, Ohtani third,
Will Smith
fourth,
Muncy fifth,
and Muncy fifth. Yeah, but even Muncy, his OPS has been dipping every single year. He's on the same trajectory that the ginger third baseman was before he left.
Justin Turner,
yeah. Although he had a good year in Boston last year because he hits fly balls in left field.
Yeah, right? Good place to be.
But yeah, after 4 or 5, I guess, depending on how he's doing, it falls off the map, completely off the map.
It is a back of the lineup where you can take, like, that's such a thing we talk about in the playoffs. It's huge, but in the regular season it's huge too. Like, these dudes just don't get breaks.
Yeah, their best hitters 6 through 9 are Chris Taylor and Jason Hayward, right?
Hayward did have a great year last year. Taylor's always been a solid guy. Now, by the way, their outfield defense, really good.
Yes, yeah. No matter who they throw out there for the most part. I mean, not having Mookie and Wright sucks, I guess, but you can put Jason Hayward out there, so that makes up for it. He had, I mean, I wouldn't say he had a great year last year, but he had a pretty good year last year. He had a 813 OPS, which for him is excellent, right?
Yeah.
Which you can't expect him to do that again, frankly.
It'd be tough.
So I think the Dodgers might be in trouble. Even like Arizona is bringing everybody back. They know how to win now, right?
Yes.
Which is a good thing.
And
they didn't get rid of a bunch of people. They didn't have big free agents leave or any of that shit.
Wasn't Corbin Carroll a rookie last year?
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll.
He might win MVP this year.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll's excellent.
His MVP. We'll get to some of this later, I think, but his MVP is plus 2,000 for him. I might sprinkle that to be honest. And leading the NL in hits, he's at plus 5,000.
Where's he batting the lineup?
He's a leadoff hitter.
He's leadoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Presumably, I don't know. We'll see.
If he's top 3, that's fine. If he's 4 or 5, then it's a little more.
The Rockies are terrible. We're not going to spend any time talking about them. The one, like, I think the Giants have enough talent in the rotation to keep it interesting with Soler there and some other guys to generate a little offense.
They have enough. They can generate offense. Logan Webb was, I think, the Cy Young runner-up last year. I think, and they're just like a very well-run organization. Yeah. I just trust them to obviously you can, like, at the top, GM making moves and stuff like that. But even just the way they scout, the smaller decisions they make and stuff like that, like, you can trust them to, like, probably add wins and add value because of what their organization does, not lose wins and lose value the way, like, the Mets might or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then there's finally the big question in the NL West is the fucking Padres,
who just added Dylan Cease.
Yeah, Dylan Cease. That's a good pickup for them. Although, I mean, he's like a 4 ERA guy, so it's not like I don't know why everybody was so all over this dude's nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
You got a 4+ ERA every year of your career in the NL Central.
AL Central.
I mean, that's not very impressive to me, frankly, because that's the weakest offensive division in baseball, right?
Yeah. So it's just what you got, like, stuff. We're just supposed to jerk off to your stuff.
Maybe, but I think the Padres really depend on which Fernando Tatis Jr. you're going to get, right?
Yep.
Like, are you going to get, because last year he had a 770 OPS. That's not fucking 13-year, $300 billion money, however much money
Absolutely
he's making.
not.
That's bad. Now, he had some decent counting stats, but his rate stats fucking sucked.
And if you want to talk about, I know,
he also played very poor defense in the outfield.
Yes.
I mean, fair enough. It's his first year there, but he was not very good. He wasn't very good at shortstop either.
No.
So.
Speaking of getting moved off shortstop.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. But with Tatis, by the way, as much as, we'll be like, man, I'm not sure how much Acuna is taking this seriously or whatever. That's like a question with Acuna, but that I think is like a fucking actual problem with Tatis.
It's a statement, with him.
Yeah. Like it's, you really get the feeling that he's kind of just like, whatever.
And they've benefited over the last couple of years from breakouts, seasons, or above average seasons from people like Cronenworth, right? Can't always count on that. He's not a fucking all-star superstar guy, right? So these kind of guys pop up, they have 2 or 3 good years, and then they kind of, go away, become role players or whatever. Cam, it's short. He's okay, right?
They're out. Now they don't have Snell or Josh Hader.
Yeah, they lost Snell and Hader. Man, it might be – they have Yu Darvish. They have Waldron. They have Joe Musgrove, who's hometown guy. Fucking threw a no-hitter last year, I believe, right?
Yeah. He's had some moments.
Yeah, he's up and down, but
they have. This is a wild variance team. I don't expect them to win the division. That's two. But
the composition of this team belongs in the NL Central. Like it's an NL Central team. To be honest, they're not going to compete in the West at all.
If they were in the NL Central, I'd be like, are they the favorite?
Yeah. Speaking of the NL Central, I think the favorite is clearly the Cubs there. Although the Cardinals have done a lot to make their team better.
I don't trust those additions. Sonny Gray is on the IL now. Yeah. He's not going to be back for opening day. The Cubs are easily the most talented team. They brought back Bellinger. Yeah. Swanson's been nice for them. Good pitching depth, although Stroman's not there anymore, although he had a terrible second half anyway.
He did, yeah. We'll see about Bellinger. Like the jump in his peripherals weren't quite as high as the jump in his counting stats.
Yeah.
But there was improvement, right? So we'll see.
He seemed to right the ship.
Yeah, we'll see a little bit.
And the defense is still...
Defense is always there. And he can play all 3 outfield positions. He can play first base as well. So good there. They've got some other good players. Nico Herner's in his second year now. He'll probably get some down ballot MVP votes, I would think, because he's probably going to hit 25 home runs and have 200 or so hits. But I don't know. Dansby will probably have a good year.
I think he'll have a pretty sizable wins above replacement.
Yeah,
buoyed a lot by defense, but I mean he is an elite defender still.
Yeah. I don't know though. I don't really think that a team out of the Central is going to be terribly competitive.
I think within
in the playoffs and shit.
No, I don't think so either. Not unless somebody makes moves, which they could. But I think within the division, the Cubs are the favorite. I feel like there's 2 teams in this division that the organizations have momentum and the fans feel the momentum, and the organizations will move aggressively to supplement that momentum to feed into it. The Cardinals are not one of those teams. I think the Cardinals are patching bullet holes.
Yeah.
The fans are fucking furious because, they don't miss the playoffs very often, and they don't finish in last place ever, which they did last year. So they added a couple pieces, interesting pieces, Sonny Gray, Brandon Crawford to patch up at short. Man, I just don't like that fucking roster. It's old and weird, and I think they're still adjusting to a post-Yadier Molina world more than anything. There's not a lot of faith in Marmol and the fan base, their manager. And then I always forget his name, the catcher that they brought over, not Contreras. Yeah, it is Contreras. Contreras' brother from the Cubs. They brought him down to St. Louis.
Wilson, yeah.
Yeah. He's not done a great job managing pitching staffs. I see the Cardinals missing the playoffs again. They'll be better. They're not going to be in last. But I love the Reds.
They're fun to watch. We'll see if they can put it together. Jonathan India obviously won Rookie of the Year a couple years ago. He's a good ball player. Everybody knows L.A. De La Cruz. He's electric, right?
Electric.
On the field, at the plate, everywhere. And Carcion Strand, who stepped in and played first base after Steer got hurt last year. Steer, by the way, had 23 home runs, and what 300 and some at bats. They have 2 legit power right-handers at first base right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if one's going to DH or whatever. We'll see about that. But Fairchild's a good ball player. They've got a lot of pieces. I wouldn't be shocked if the Reds make a deadline deal where they gained players for the first time in like a million years this year, right?
I kind of like their staff too. Frankie Montas, Hunter Green, and he's starting the year hurt, but Nick Lodolo.
Yeah.
Like
they got a 1-2-3 that's pretty legit.
There's serious upside there. If you want to talk about betting, the Reds are plus 350. If you want to talk about, I think that is the best odds for a potential division winner, because a lot of these divisions are pretty uncompetitive.
Yeah.
I think this one is not one of them. The Central should be a good race. The Reds at 3.5 to 1. I love that. I think
it's not bad.
I think that to call every team in the NL Central imperfect is an understatement. I think the Reds kind of have the potential for being the deepest team with the least holes, and they might. And there's 2 teams in that division that, again, like I said, have momentum both in the clubhouse and in the stands, and that's the Cubs and the Reds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why, but that we talked about it a bunch last year, but that series we had in Cincinnati left an impression on me just because of how.
Well, Great American Ballpark is a fucking home run derby.
Yeah.
I mean, every single time you go in there. So I think the Reds, if you pay attention to the makeup of the composition of their roster, they have a bunch of random ass no name relief pitchers who strike people out.
Yep.
That's it. All the relief pitchers are just strikeout guys. They don't have specialists they don't have like an old palm ball guy to get double plays or any of that bullshit. Everybody's there to strike people out, right? So it's high risk, high reward. I think they could win this division.
I agree, and they're an aggressive team too. Like as players.
Well, they're all young too.
Exactly. Like they're the type of team like you can't really take a pitch or a quote play off with them. Like I will say this about the Reds: win or lose this year, that is going to be a top 3 non-Braves team I'm watching, on MLB TV. Like,
for sure. For sure. A team I'm not going to watch any games of is the Brewers because...
What are they even fucking doing?
Corbin Burns is in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Brandon Woodruff is out for the year with shoulder surgery. They've got Freddie Peralta still, but he was the third best. So I'm like, all right, I'm not watching any of these games.
No. I imagine, honestly, at this point... I don't know what they have in their pipeline. I obviously don't have the bandwidth to pay attention to 30 fucking farm systems, but like you got to think they're going to trade what's their closer, Devin West?
Yeah.
Guy who punched the wall and wasn't in there for the Braves series in 21.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just trade him.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't know on the offensive side of the ball, most of the players they have, like Willie Adames was on the block last year.
Right.
And nothing ever happened. If they're and they signed Rhys Hoskins too, by the way. So they have Rhys Hoskins over there now. So they got a couple of decent players. They have Hoskins, Adames, William Contreras hits well.
Still got Yelich.
Yeah, I mean, whatever that means. And they have Gary Sanchez as well. He hits home runs.
Do they still have the big fat guy? What was his name? Fuck.
No, he went to the Mets.
No, not that big fat guy. Different big fat guy.
Oh yeah, the one that hit a home run off us in the
he hit 2
division
in the DS.
series.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't remember his name.
He's a Latino dude. Fuck, man.
I don't remember.
I googled who's the big fat guy for the Brewers, and Google told me Prince Fielder. Come on now.
That's dated a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm not paying any attention to the Brewers this year.
They're useless. Yeah, wouldn't bother.
Now the Pirates are another story. I don't think they're going to compete for the division or anything like that. But O'Neal Cruz is he and Brian Hayes. If there was a thing where you could say best left side of the infield under 25, they might win that one.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what Baltimore's third baseman's age is, but they're good on one side of the ball. They were somehow. I don't understand. Rowdy Tellez is his name, and he plays for the Pirates now.
Oh, sweet.
So he's fat in Pittsburgh now.
Guy's just gonna go bananas on Randy Bros.
They've still got Andrew McCutchen. He's going to DH this year.
Just doing a little.
At least a
retirement.
clubhouse leader. Yeah, he's taking a lap. And then they have what's his name? Their left fielder, Brian Reynolds.
Yeah.
That again, I don't understand the math of that to give him $25-30 million a year or whatever the fuck he made.
I guess it's the type of thing where maybe you're going to move him at some point. And
yeah,
that's a
maybe.
friendly contract.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, we talked about the Braves trying to get him for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved that. He's a really good fucking ball player. But anyways, yeah, I don't expect too much out of Pittsburgh. So as far as the National League goes, division winners are probably the Braves, Cubs, and Dodgers. The wild card teams are probably Diamondbacks and or Giants, Phillies, and maybe Cincinnati. I could see.
I think the Central probably only puts one team in the play. I'm going Braves, Dodgers. That's unquestionable. I think for the division. I like the Reds. I'm taking the Reds in the Central, and then I'll just I'll say the Phillies for a wild card, and then I'm gonna go Giants. I don't know. I have a feeling about the Giants.
Maybe
like
they have the best pitching staff other than the Dodgers over there.
Webb and Snell.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yep. And I could also see the Phillies winning the East, the East, and the Braves being the wild card out of there. Either one. It just depends on who stays healthy and who gets hot win.
Yeah, honestly, maybe just give me the fucking wild card.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
And then we can play in a National League Championship Series. Real quick, before we keep going, we got some sponsors. That is MyBookie. It's where we're making all these picks. We're making all the bets every year. We're going to do, each of us will give you a parlay every week to go into the weekend for the Tomahawk show, because I believe we'll either record or put these out on Fridays. That's what we did last year as well. So, yeah, we'll give you a parlay for the upcoming week. And obviously, we're making those picks on MyBookie, and we're making all our preseason picks on MyBookie as well. Go to MyBookie.com. Use the promo code Drinking Bros to double your first deposit up to $1,000. Put in $1,000, you get $1,000. Put in $20, you get $20 if you're very poor. But whatever you want to do, go to MyBookie.com. That's also where we made all our March Madness picks. Doing okay today. My parlay already died, though, and South Carolina's kind of fucking me, too.
Yeah,
but
they're not doing well.
Otherwise, doing okay. But yeah, either way, MyBookie is where we go to make our picks and double your first deposit up to $1,000 at MyBookie.com. And coming in April, can I announce that yet? Do you know?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Coming in April, me and Dan, Delco Dan, will be doing a weekly show where we play blackjack. MyBookie has a live casino. It's not like some sketchy, sort of computer casino.
Yeah, digital
where it's like definitely rigged. No, they have a live dealer on the screen in a casino where MyBookie is based out of. When we play blackjack every Friday, you can play along with us, or just watch us and listen to our dumb voices. So check that out. That'll start in a couple weeks in April, I believe. So again, MyBookie.com, double your first deposit up to $1,000. All right, let's get into the American League. AL East. Orioles tied as the favorite for the Yankees at plus 185. Garrett Cole currently kind of hurt.
That is retarded. The Yankees have a 0% chance of winning that fucking division.
I know you're a big Orioles guy. You Orioles all the way this year?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I am too. I love this team.
They had a great team, great young team, and they added Corbin Burns to it.
Craig Kimbrell to it.
Craig Kimbrell. Jackson Holliday is a new addition to this team. He's got a 990 OPS in spring. What's this kid's name? Fucking Kobe Mayo, another 22-year-old, 979 OPS in spring. Just lighten it up. Adley Rutschman's one of the best players in baseball already. Gunnar Henderson's good over at third. Gunnar Henderson, by the way, hit 440 with a 1060 OPS in spring, so no sophomore slump for him, I guess.
Yeah, they're loaded, man. They're
and the bullpen's loaded. The rotation's pretty good. Like it's
good enough.
It's good enough with these guys to fucking win, because you've got a bunch of athletes out there that play good defense and they fucking rake.
And with the Yankees, it's like who? I mean, obviously Juan Soto is going to obliterate in New York, like.
Sure.
He's going to be great.
Yeah, but how many games are you even going to get out of
Giancarlo
Stanton or Aaron Judge?
Yeah.
Right?
And Garrett Cole already.
Are you going to get a full season's worth combined out of those two guys?
Yeah.
Because Aaron Judge already had to get an MRI on his core and his abs.
Yeah.
That's a fucking bad sign, right? I mean, god damn it, man.
When Aaron Judge plays a full-ish season, he is one of the best players in baseball.
He's an MVP.
But
for sure.
He doesn't do that a lot. I mean, I think it is crazy to me that the Yankees. I think those are terrible odds for the Yankees.
Yeah.
It's no fucking way.
Yep. That is insane. Like, I wish there was a way to short that. To be honest.
No shit. I will say, if you want to talk about a team to take a flyer on, just because they are who they are, the Rays are plus 550.
Yeah, I mean, they're always in it, no matter what.
I mean, why not? Why not? Put $50, whatever, on it just to see. Like, the Rays are gonna be in the mix.
By the way, the Orioles also have this kid Colton Cowser. He was their first round draft pick in 2021. Left-handed hitting center fielder. And in AAA last year, he hit 300 with 17 home runs and 62 RBI.
God, they have the
with a 937 OPS for a defensive center fielder.
They have the most like white, deep suburban list of names on that fucking team.
He looks like a Colton. There's no question about that.
Colton, Corbin, Gunnar,
Bryce.
Adley. Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It sounds like someone calling out for their kids in my neighborhood.
But he's probably going to be their everyday center field. I think who was it last year? Cedric Mullins for most of the time, but he couldn't really stay that healthy.
Yeah.
I think you're probably going to see Mullins might move to one of the corner spots. And this kid might be their everyday center fielder by the time the season ends.
Yeah.
And you're going to have, like, their team average age is like 26 right now.
They're so young and they're so good. This is another team, unfortunately.
Kind of reminds you of the Braves a couple years ago,
yes.
to be honest. Although they've already had more success than the Braves did at that point. Let's say last year would have been 2018 for them. So
okay.
We'll see how it goes moving forward. But they did the right thing. They brought in a veteran, Corbin Burns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll fucking see.
They're going to be a great team. I'm going to try to watch them a lot, too. Unfortunately, they're going to play a lot of games at the exact same time as Atlanta because they're also an East Coast team. But that is another team. No matter who your team is, if you just want other teams to watch during the year, the Orioles are right there with the Reds, in my opinion, as like a super fun team to watch. Yankees, like we said, a lot of dudes that get hurt. Blue Jays, I don't give a fuck about the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays are the American League Padres.
Yep.
There's a bunch of names on their roster, and nobody gives a fuck.
Yep.
Because they never do shit, man.
Yep.
I mean, I hate to talk shit about Canada. I love Canada, but I love Canadian people. I hate your government sucks. But
that's an eyebrow-raising statement there for a second.
It's like, what are you gonna get out of Vlad hustle-wise? Is he in shape? He had a good spring.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think Bo Bichette is underrated. He doesn't get enough talk. He's a fucking baller. Also, his stats in pressure situations are some of the best in baseball.
Yeah.
Completely wasted on that team.
Yeah. Still got George Springer, who I like. And
Springer's a good ball player.
Kevin Gossman, one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, but they just don't like Kevin Biggio has been a project, and I don't know why he's still on that team. It's because of his last name, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they just don't have anybody better. But Vogelbach is actually on the Blue Jays now.
I know.
So good luck with that. Kevin Kiermaier's over there, former Brave. Springer. They've got Justin Turner actually is up there now too from Boston. So they have a bunch of really good role players, but not enough stars to win, right? On either side. Like they've got good on the offense anyways, they've got great role players. I don't know how their bullpen depth is or anything, but
it's just they're going to have a fucking gauntlet of a schedule that they play in a tough ass division, and honestly, the American League is, I think, the better league this year. You could go either way. I think the National League's a little deeper, but I think the American League has more teams at the upper echelon of, I think, the top of the American League.
The Rangers, the Astros, the fucking Orioles for sure are those are elite teams.
And honestly,
maybe even the Yankees, we'll see.
I'm not gonna take the Rays out of it.
Yeah, the Rays are always in it, and who knows what's going to happen in the Central. We'll get there in a minute. The other East team is the Red Sox. We don't know what they're going to do this year, but they got Giolito. They added. Some of their people are coming back healthy this year.
Trevor Story.
Rafael Devers is they paid him. So probably going to be a shitty year for him, right? That's usually how it goes. But we'll see. Tristan Cassis, who I think he was third in the American League and Rookie of the Year voting, is coming back. They've got some good players, and it's
It's not the easy. I mean, they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs or anything, but they're still not an easy out.
No, they're not. They're not as easy an out as they were the last 2 years. They've been dog shit the last 2 years. I think they're going to be more competitive this year, which means, which is good for the Rays, right? Because they're going to chip away at some of those other teams and not just going to get free wins like that. So we'll see. Trevor Story's back. He had a pretty good spring. 1,000 OPS in spring. Yoshida's good. Rafael Devers is great. They got players. We'll see. I don't expect too much out of them though.
No, it would take a miracle year for them, I think, to make the playoffs. Because again, I think there's too much depth in 2 of the 3 American League divisions. But that's going to be. I mean, wasn't last year the AL East at one point had all the wild card teams?
Yes.
Like it was they were very close to being the entire wild card.
Yeah.
But AL West. Astros are the favorite. They're the third of 4 minus teams, minus odds, minus 110 for the Astros. I think that's actually great odds. Like I would bet that because I think they should be a bigger favorite.
Yeah, they should with Abreu, Presley, and Hader in their fucking bullpen.
It's insane.
Are you kidding me? If those 3 guys stay healthy this year, everybody's in fucking trouble. Now they've got an older rotation this year than they did. But only because of Verlander, really, because Vasquez is still young.
Framber's
still young. Those 2 have had some issues, right? But mostly in the playoffs, right? So as far as this goes,
this team just fucking wins.
Or not Vasquez, Luis Garcia.
Yeah.
He's coming back from an arm injury. And Christian Javier had a good year last year.
Dude,
we'll see how he fucking does.
Their rotation is deep as fuck. Their bullpen is deep as fuck. And their lineup is deep as fuck. Like, this is the Astros to me. I know everyone has been jerking off the Dodgers and Braves. I think the Astros are still the best team in baseball. They have been literally the best organization in baseball for the last 8 years or however 7 years. They're going to win. They're going to win the division. That you get almost even odds on them.
Yeah.
I would happily bet that. I think that's the only intelligent pick. I know the Rangers just won the World Series. I don't care. Like there is no great flaw in this Astros team. And again, like I talked about the Giants earlier, this is the type of team where the organization is going to get you extra wins. You're not going to bleed wins because of like shitty scouting or something like that. They are obviously down to make moves at the deadline. They brought Verlander back last year. Like they will patch holes where they need to patch holes. Not that it matters in terms of what we're talking about, but they win in the fucking playoffs. Like this is the second best team of the 21st century so far. And if they win another World Series in the next year or two, maintaining a sort of like continuity from 2017 to now, they will be the best organization of the 21st century. I still give it to the Red Sox over them. Who has specifically the Red Sox from 04.
They got 3 titles.
They got 4, right? 04, 07, 04, 07, 13,
and
18. But 4, 7, and 13 were the same core, and then 18 was kind of a one-off.
Yeah,
so they're kind of competing with that early 2000s Red Sox organization as the best, and I mean. There's nothing you can say about them that hasn't already been said. They're fucking awesome. They're going to win this division.
They've had injury issues.
Certainly.
Javier last year. Their best player, Yordan Alvarez, has never played more than 144 games in the season. Last year he played 114. The year before that, 135. So that's something to keep your eye on. But, it's never hurt them when it mattered because he's hitting 300 with a fucking 1,000 OPS in the postseason with 12 home runs and 200 at bats.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll take it. If you play 100 games in a year, I don't give a shit. Now, on to the worst team of the 21st century, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
God damn.
Not worst in performance necessarily, but considering the fucking talent they've had on that team, they're the worst baseball team ever.
They've literally won a World Series in the 21st century, and I still feel worse for them than any other organization.
Yeah. And we don't know what exactly we're going to get out of Mike Trout. Like he's one of the best physically talented baseball players of all time. There's no question about that. But he hasn't played over 120 games since 2019. And he hasn't played over 150 games since 2016.
Yeah.
That's 8 years. That's a long-ass time.
He's still playing the field.
He should be playing left or DHing at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you want that bat in your lineup all the time. I don't know.
I'll tell you this: if he does or decide to give the Angels or waive his no trade clause or whatever, and that fucker goes to Philadelphia, I will lose my mind.
That would be fun, wouldn't it? Just to see him and Bryce on the same team.
I wouldn't,
to be honest.
Tear it.
As long as we win, as long as the Braves win the World Series this year, and then that happens next year, I'll be a Phillies fan for a year. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
By the way, even with all of his bullshit, he still had a .4 defensive wins above replacement last year in 80 games.
Yeah.
So that's a .8 center field defensive wins above replacement for a guy who, oh my God, dude, he's a freak. Like, there's nothing you can say about that. Now the rest of that team is fucked. Now, because it was him and Ohtani was doing double duty. Now, I don't even know who their pitchers are at this point.
I don't think they have any. And then Anthony Rendon doesn't even like his job.
Well, they've got Reed Detmers.
Sweet.
So he had a great spring. Jose Suarez, Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson's not bad. Patrick Sandoval. They've got a bunch of discards.
Yeah.
Basically. And they're going to try to make it work. But they do have a secret weapon. And it's cocaine. Well, no, it's Ron Washington.
Yes, I will say.
Basically cocaine.
I will say, I am rooting for the Angels because, God damn it, I love Ron Washington.
How funny would it be if Wash goes there and they make the playoffs without Ohtani in the first year?
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Do you know how fucking funny that would be?
That would be really, really funny.
But they're not going to. They're terrible.
No.
This is a fucking AAA team with Mike Trout on it, basically. And then the A's, no comment. They don't even know, like, the mayor of Vegas was like, "Are you guys sure you want to come here? Why don't you stay in fucking Oakland?"
I think
you guys, that's how bad this organization sucks. Like, the billions of dollars in revenue. And look, moving the team to Vegas would be game changing for them. They would make so much more money. They would have more money to spend. The franchise would immediately improve, right? Yeah. Especially at Billy's still like the president of baseball operations. He's not the GM anymore, but you still have that institutional knowledge over there. You give him some money and he'll make anything happen, right?
Yeah.
But that's how bad this organization is, that the mayor of Vegas is like, I don't know, man. I want you guys to stay. It's like a hot girl and you're just like looking at her like, you probably got AIDS or some shit. Get the fuck out of here. So we're not going to spend any time talking about the fucking Oakland A's. Now, the Mariners are a very good fucking baseball team.
Yes.
Right? They could definitely win the West. I mean, the AL West might be the best division in baseball.
It's certainly the most competitive.
I mean, Mariners, Astros, and Rangers in that division. Who's got three that are better than that? We don't.
No, we don't. I don't think the
maybe AL East.
I don't trust the Yankees to be healthy. And
don't trust the Blue Jays to perform either.
No, and I trust the Rays to be, good, but
but they lost Glasnow, and two of their other starters are fucking hurt for at least half of the season.
They do have look. The Rays aren't always a 95 win team. Like, they will still have years where it's like, oh, didn't work this year, and they lose fucking 90 games. So yeah, the Rays could fall flat on their face. I do think the AL West is by far, even top to bottom, even with the A's. Because I think the Angels have enough pieces to be a tough out. This is the best division of baseball.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the Mariners, I hope the Mariners make the playoffs.
It would be nice to see him again. They brought Mitch Garver over from Texas, who had a great year last year. Plays really well, really good third base. Jorge Blanco came over. Gregory Santos, a lot of good fucking young players came over. They got rid of Eugenio Suarez and Kalenic, who is with the Braves now. We'll see how that works out. But
they do have maybe, I would say probably a top 5 pitcher in the AL in Luis Castillo.
Yeah,
and
he's good.
A top 5 player in the AL in Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, we'll see. He had a bit of a slow start last year, but he fucking got his nut. He ended up with 32, 103. 818 OPS is kind of low for him, but he's 23.
That
was a sophomore year. So, we'll see how that works.
If an 800 OPS is your sophomore slump, like, you're doing pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Now on to the worst division.
So fucking bad.
The White Sox aren't even worth talking about. The players they did have are gone now, right? Even Tim Anderson's gone, which I don't know.
Anderson Cease. Oh, not everyone. I think they still have Luis Robert.
Yeah.
And
he's the only one.
Is he the only one left? Wait, who's the other big fucking
that dude
like
went
Jack
to
Dominican
He
dude.
went to the Astros, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Abreu.
Abreu, yeah.
Yeah,
He went to
yeah.
the Astros last year, before.
So they still have Louis.
They have Eloy Jimenez too.
Oh, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking of Eloy Jimenez. So those two guys, I have to imagine they got to be moved at some point.
I guess because I think Kevin Pillar might be starting for them in left field.
Oh boy.
Which
I
is
love Kevin Pillar.
Love him, but he's not a starter in Major League Baseball.
No.
But then they rounded out with like Mike Moustakas, who
is alive
in 2016. Fuck yeah, dude! Right?
Yeah.
But those days are done. Paul DeJong, man.
Jeez. By the way, for as much as, and I so far have been, look, we got a World Series out of the Braves in 2021, and the rest of it has been wildly disappointing and really annoying and upsetting. Losing in the DS every year, then blowing a 3-1 lead in the COVID year in the NLCS, all that fucking sucks. I think we should be closer to the Astros than what we currently are. However, we could be the White Sox because they had the same level of insane core that the Braves had. The Braves have certainly outperformed whatever they did. And you know who the new kind of White Sox are like with heat on them or whatever, is the Orioles.
Yeah.
Right? So things are not guaranteed to work.
But the White Sox players weren't as good as we thought they were, right? Like Tim Anderson's not that good of a baseball player.
No,
frankly.
he was way overhyped.
And a lot of those other guys, like what's his name? The pitcher that went to the Dodgers last year. What the fuck's his name?
Lance Lynn.
Lynn, yeah. Like, no.
He was on the Dodgers.
Yeah, there's another guy that Chicago traded last year.
Okay.
Well, Dylan Cease was also not as good as promised. He's a 4 ERA guy, right?
Yeah.
I know it's the American League, but it's 2024. That shit. In the 90s, if you had a 4 ERA in the American League, it was fine. But I think like Abreu performed pretty well. He missed like a whole season, I think, right?
Okay, so Giolito, Clevenger.
Oh yeah, Giolito was the other guy I was talking about. He had good years. But I just think a lot of those dudes never really lived up to the hype. It wasn't just a team thing.
And another one, Yon Moncada, was another guy that was supposed to be. I mean, I think he was part of the Chris Sale trade. He was like the best prospect in the Red Sox.
To Boston, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the Indians have a shot at winning the NL Central or the AL Central.
They always do.
They've got, anybody does, right? But they have Shane Bieber, provided he's healthy, and he looked good. Tristan McKenzie. And then they had 3 rookies last year that all posted great fucking starts. Logan Allen, Gavin Williams, Tanner Bibby. If you have a solid 5-deep rotation, even if it doesn't have to be outstanding. It's got to be good.
Yep.
And you play in the AL Central, you can fucking win that division.
Can I tell you why I kind of like them for the division, or at least why I'll be rooting for them potentially? Their manager.
It's not Terry Francona anymore. So who's the manager now?
First-year manager, Atlanta Braves great Stephen Vogt.
Oh wow, yeah.
He got a managerial job right out of his retirement.
Deservedly so.
Yep.
Everybody knew he was going to become a manager. Now on the offensive side, they're okay. Josh Naylor's good. Stephen Kwan's good. Jose Ramirez is great.
Yes.
Gets a little thin after that. They've got.
You don't need a lot.
They need some bats. I mean, they brought in Josh Bell last year, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
They don't have the money to really bring in a slugger or anything. I mean, they only hit like their top home run hitter in spring was a 22-year-old who I think is going to be the starting right fielder at some point this year. But he's back down to AAA, right?
They working the clock.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, like so. Fucking second week of May,
something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So if they can get off to a good start and ride that pitching. So remember, pitchers are always ahead of hitters, right?
Yeah.
Development-wise in the early part of the season. If they can just kind of keep it together and stay around 500 for the first month of the season, they got a really good shot at winning this division, which is crazy because their payroll is like $40 million or some
insane.
shit.
That's nothing. And I know the Twins are the favorite. They're minus money. Don't bet that.
Do not bet minus money on the Twins. No. Jesus Christ. Now, the Tigers are interesting as well because they've got a fuck ton. Not like the Orioles, but they got a really good group of young dudes. But they're not there yet.
No.
Right?
I like they have a decent AL Cy Young contender in Tarek Skubal. I like him as a pitcher. He was on my fantasy team 2 years ago, and he was a super consistent guy.
Yeah, he came up late last year, but he had a sub fucking 1 whip, right?
I like.
So,
they're interesting. They're interesting.
A lefty with lefty with a sub 1 whip like that. He had a really good season, and he was 116 the year before that. So, we'll see. They've got some good players. I don't think they're good enough to win the division or anything like that.
And honestly, much as we would usually like to talk shit on the Royals, who were absolute dog shit last year, they made moves. I don't know.
Well, they fucking locked up Bobby Witt Jr. for 8 years, I think.
Yes, they locked him up, and they added relievers. Now, there one or two thoughts with the adding relievers. So locking up Bobby Witt's smart. He is potentially one of the best young players.
Well, they also brought over Adam Frazier.
Yeah.
Right, from the Pirates, who is a fucking good player.
You don't need to do a lot to win in that division.
Or he was at the Orioles last year. But yeah, you don't have to do too much.
And worst case scenario, they're absolutely fucked in the butt by July. And now you have it. I like this. I think more mediocre to shitty teams should do this, right? Is one of the most valuable trade assets at the deadline is relievers. So I think every single team, no matter what your status is, should be in the market for relievers in the offseason because those are immediate assets that you can exchange for. If you're a mediocre team who finds yourself competitive, all of a sudden you have an edge in the bullpen, and you can maybe keep winning games. If you fall off and you're not good, you could trade those guys. Those are almost always the most sought after dudes in the fucking market because people need relievers. It's not like trying to unload maybe like a star position player where people are like, yeah, well, we know you're fucked, so we can kind of lowball you.
Yeah. With
relievers, it's like we know you have a chance to win the World Series. Give us what we fucking ask for.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, the Royals might suck this year, offload some relievers, and pick up some interesting pieces moving forward.
Yeah, I mean they've not even just relievers. They've got Hunter Renfroe, right? Mm-hmm. Who could be some trade bait later in the season to get some young talent. And don't forget, Atlanta native and former player Drew Waters is on that team now. He actually had a pretty good year last year, considering he was banged up a little bit, but he had like 320 and 327, I think, in AAA, and then he hit 230, but he had 8 home runs.
Was he part of Solaire's deal?
Probably, right?
That's the last time we made a trade with them, I think.
I think so, yeah. And then, of course, last but probably not least, actually, is the Twins.
Lost Sonny Gray. Still have some nice pieces.
They've got their pitching's not as good as it was last year, probably. Carlos Santana's good. Farmer's good.
Buxton,
if he can stay fucking healthy. Max Kepler's a solid player.
If
Carlos Correa.
Correa's still there too.
Christian Vasquez is there. I mean, they got a solid fucking team.
They have the best lineup in that division.
Yeah, but
unquestionably.
I've never seen a team underperform like the Twins, and I'm talking about ever since they won that last World Series, right?
Kind of, yeah.
With 91 or so, they've had some really good fucking teams. And just
Johan Santana and Liriano. Yeah. I mean, the fact that Santana-Liriano team couldn't get out of the first round ever, that's crazy. A 5-game series, you can't win with those two guys going twice. That's fucking nuts. I think they had a third pitcher, too, who was really good, but whatever. I think the Twins are probably rightfully the favorite based on the lineup, and I'll take lineup over rotation for a regular season team if I had to pick one being good. However, I mean, I just don't buy him.
Minus money, there's no fucking way.
No. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like that. I think the Tigers are overvalued. I think you can just wipe the Royals and White Sox off. The Royals would take a miracle. The White Sox don't even bother. Cleveland Guardians, Indians, whatever, are the best bet in the division, I think.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best one. 350 plus 350. I'll probably sprinkle that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got some other odds. NL MVP, Acuna is leading at plus 500. Unlikely.
Just hard to repeat.
It's so hard. I would probably go with Freddie Freeman, to be honest, at plus 1,200. That looks like the best value to me.
He keeps getting better and better.
He's I would say, like, Mookie would have a good shot at it, but going to shortstop, I think, is going to affect his offense. Mm-hmm. Harper's another guy, plus 1,000. That's a good bet right there. Playing first base, not having to worry about the field. not having to put all those miles on his legs running around, he's gonna have an absolute.
He's gonna be great.
He might hit 50 home runs.
I think Harper's probably with the odds and everything else. I think Harper's the best bet. And people kind of like at this point.
I don't know. Freeman at 1,200 is pretty good too.
It is, but I think those are the two best. Absolutely. And I think with either Freeman or Harper, in particular, I think you're going to get. I don't think people even like to reward back-to-back MVP seasons.
Yeah. Not unless you do something crazy. I mean, what's he going to do? Go 50-80?
Well, I'll say this: if Acuna goes 50-50, because there's never been a 50-50 season, you could probably pencil him in for MVP.
He might.
He might.
I mean, honestly, it's fucking weird, but he might. But that's the only way that'll happen.
I think so. I think even if he has...
Unless he wins a Triple Crown, something like that, it's got to be something.
Yeah, I think if he even just repeats the year he had, which was a crazy year, I don't think he wins it. I think people like to... I think the voters like to solidify careers, like to solidify... I can't think of the word stories, whatever.
Narrative.
Yeah, and I think Harper and Freeman are both excellent choices for that happening.
Well, Harper's won an MVP. Remember,
got two.
He stole that one from Austin Riley.
Yeah.
Because he sucked down the stretch.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
But Harper's got two and Freeman's got one.
Yeah. Freeman at plus 1,200. Like, it's going to be a team from a big market. So all three of those, everybody on this page except for San Diego, except for Tatis Jr., is attractive. I don't think Tatis Jr. has any shot.
No, and I wouldn't lay money on Ohtani until the dust settles.
Yeah, you may want to keep an eye on that one. Now, as far as the American League goes, Juan Soto is the shortest odds at plus 600. No, he's not actually. Aaron Judge is plus 550. That's silly.
Get that out of here.
Don't put any money on Aaron Judge.
Get the fuck out of here.
He may very well win the MVP.
It's just not smart. It's just not a smart bet.
Yeah, it's not.
Because not preseason, because you don't know. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get preseason.
Yeah. And Julio Rodriguez on this list as well. I mean, I don't know if they're counting on a Acuna-style season with high home run, high stolen bases or something, but that's unlikely as well. Yordan Alvarez, again, doesn't even qualify for the MVP most years.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's plus 800. That's fucking crazy.
My favorite bet?
He's only qualified for MVP one season his entire career.
Yeah. My favorite bet, by far, Adley Rutschman plus 1,300.
Yeah.
The catcher for the team that's probably going to win the AL East.
Probably going to have the best record in baseball, to be honest.
It could
because they're young.
Happen.
Everybody's going to play every day.
Yeah.
Right? That's not a bad one at plus 1,300. That's a long-ass odds. Juan Soto at plus 600, that's worth a sprinkle too.
Yes.
Because he might hit 40 home runs and get walked 200 times this year.
I think he's going...
He may have like an 11 or 1,200 OPS. I'm not even kidding.
I think he's going to have a legendary season this year. And here's the thing. It's like, and you'll have Judge protecting him. He doesn't even need the protection.
Yeah. He's not going to swing no matter what. If you throw the ball at the plate, he's not swinging no matter what happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the situation is, apparently.
He is... I mean, look, he sucks at defense, but he won't even play it anymore, right? He is going to be in the field.
Yeah, Stanton will be DH.
Yeah, because Stanton's made out of fucking glass.
Yeah.
I love Adley Rutschman as a bet, though.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I fucking love that. NL Cy Young odds, Strider kind of a big favorite as far as that goes. Plus 450. Zach Wheeler in second at plus 800. Now, Zach Wheeler led the NL, or actually maybe all of baseball, in pitcher wins above replacement last year.
He should have won Cy Young, no question.
Fuck Snell.
Blake Snell had 20. I think Snell actually led the league in quality starts.
Okay.
But he didn't get out of the sixth inning ever.
Wheeler, and then by the way, they lowered the quality start threshold.
Yeah. He didn't get out of. He averaged 5.6 innings per outing, which is why he didn't get signed to a big long-term contract, in my opinion, right? Wheeler's a fucking grinder, man.
Yep.
He'll be in there in the seventh inning in most of his starts.
And he's I mean, there's a lot of good odds on the NL Cy Young.
Yeah.
Now, Yamamoto just got rocked in his opening start.
Who cares?
It was in fucking Korea and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Glasnow, Gallen, Fried, and Wheeler. I mean, first off, Wheeler's plus 800, but Fried, Gallen, and Glasnow are all 13-1, 12-1, 14-1. All those guys could easily fucking win the Cy. Gallen was the favorite down the stretch.
Yeah,
he kind of blew it.
I like Fried and Gallen here. Glasnow is made of glass, right?
Yeah.
I don't be surprised if he's out halfway through the season, to be honest. But those are 12-1 for Gallen is. I think he's coming into the season with a chip. To be honest. That's probably what I'll bet.
Lost himself the Cy Young, lost the World Series. Didn't have a good postseason either, right? I believe he was kind of Yeah,
he was okay. Yeah. But Strider at plus 450, he's gonna get 300 this year if he starts every game, right?
Here's my biggest problem with Strider, and this is something he needs to prove to me, is that he can finally be efficient. He does not. He's got the same problem as Snell in a lot of ways. He doesn't go deep into games.
Be efficient or convince them to let you throw 120 pitches a game.
Yeah.
Right? Like fucking Nolan Ryan did it his whole career.
Right.
Like our arms are supposedly better now. Everybody's throwing 100 now.
Yeah.
But you can't go 6 innings.
Yeah.
Right? And if you think Nolan Ryan took it easy on any pitch he ever threw in his career, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Right.
Or Bob Gibson, you think Bob Gibson
no shit.
went out there and played soft toss one day? I don't think so, bud.
No.
Not one fucking prayer. Yeah, but Strider's a hippie. So who knows, right?
Right.
Although he's I like him. He and I would assume, based on some of the stuff I've seen about him, would be diametrically opposed politically.
Yeah.
Probably. And maybe even lifestyle-wise. I don't mean like gay shit. I mean like he's a vegan, right? And I think that's immoral. But I would fucking party with that dude because he's a goddamn winner, man.
Yeah.
He's crazy. He just wants to win all the time. I fucking love that dude.
Say what you want about all that stuff. Yeah, he is hyper competitive.
Yep.
Hyper competitive.
Big fan of that kid. Now in the American League, Corbin Burns has the shortest odds, and it makes sense because he's on a fucking team, man. I mean, he's on the best. He's on the best team in baseball. He's probably going to be a 20-game winner.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good bullpen, so he's not going to get a bunch of wins stolen from him, like happens sometimes. I know the counting stats don't matter for Cy Young as much as they used to, but people also don't win 20 games like they used to very often. So if you're a 20-game winner with a whip around a 1 and you have an ERA under 3.5, that's a fucking Cy Young right there.
What did Strider finish in Cy Young voting last year? 3rd or 4th?
I think 3rd, and he was like a 3.86 ERA.
But he won 20 games, and
he did win 20 games,
and he struck out a ton of people.
282.
I think he was buoyed. People are going to credit the strikeouts, and obviously that's a huge thing. But I do think the 20 next to his name helped quite a bit as well.
Yeah, because the 3.80 ERA did not do him any. Which you can look down at Babbitt, and you can look at his fucking FIP, his fielding independent. And he's more like a 3 or a 2.80.
A full run lower.
Yeah, but the voters don't give a shit about that yet. So,
also FIP is not outcome, and at some point it's about outcome, right? Because imagine if someone was like, oh, I know, he only hit like 260, but he should have hit 360. It's like, all right, well, he fucking didn't.
Yeah,
and I can understand that to a point, but like at some point it's outcome because the other way. There's a great article on Tom Glavine, and it's like, yeah, his peripherals sucked ass, but at some point, like, your career's over, and the results are the results.
Yeah. Now, right now, the odds are Kevin Gausman are the shortest odds, actually, at plus 650.
I don't like that.
No.
I love Luis Castillo.
Castillo's good at plus 1,000.
10 to 1.
10 to 1. Framber Valdez at 8 to 1. Probably, like, going back-to-back with great seasons like he had, I don't know if I would put money on that.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole easily won Cy Young last year.
And he's not, his odds weren't even listed because of the injury.
He's going to be out for at least a month, so
it's going to be tough for him to win. In terms of these were my favorite picks. The other ones were just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
That had odds listed. I love Luis Castillo 10 to 1. He strikes out a lot of guys. He should get a decent amount of wins.
They got a really good defense over there.
And they have an excellent defense. He should have good rate stats as well. In both strikeout and run prevention.
But he also has to play the Rangers a lot, and he's got to play the Astros a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see, right? It depends on how those fucking fifth days fall for him, I guess.
I mean, at least he gets the A's and the Angels a lot, too.
Yeah, no shit. Is there anything else? I don't see anything on here from Rookie of the Year and shit.
I didn't care about Rookie of the Year. Give me a World Series pick. Who plays and who wins.
I mean, the Braves should come out of the National League, but we could say that every year, right?
Yep.
But I'm hoping for that. I think if it's not the Braves, it's probably the Giants or the Phillies.
Yeah.
Those would be 2 and 3 in my list.
I have
not in that order necessarily. Like the Giants and Phillies would be 1A, 2A, 2B, or whatever.
No faith in the Dodgers.
No, not at all. AL. I think the ALCS is going to be the Orioles and the Astros, and it's going to be one of the best goddamn series we've ever watched.
God.
To be honest, I think it's going to be one of the best series we've ever watched, and that's going to be a backbreaker for the AL, and the Braves are going to beat whomever comes out of that series probably. Because I don't think the NLCS is going to be anywhere near as competitive as the Orioles versus the fucking Astros, to be honest.
That's the ALCS I'm praying for.
That's what baseball wants. And to be honest, the NLCS should be the Braves and Phillies. They're the two best teams.
Well, there may be a situation where it might just the bracket might shake out the exact same fucking way it's shaken out the last 2 years. Which
It's possible.
Is annoying as fuck. But
I think they should reseed after every round.
I agree.
Like, it doesn't make any sense to not do that.
I agree.
Every other fucking sport does that shit.
Yeah. In terms of without knowing the bracket or anything like that, I'll take the Braves out of the National League. And man, I love the Orioles, but I'm not going to bet against the Astros until they fucking lose. Right? I mean, I know they lost in the LCS last year, whatever. This has been one of the best playoff teams I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
Probably the second best playoff team I've ever seen behind the Yankees dynasty. And yeah, I'll take Braves Astros, repeat of 21. And dude, fuck it. I picked actually, you know what? I picked the Astros to beat the Braves in 21, and then we ended up winning. So just out of superstition, Astros beat the Braves in the World Series. That's all I got. We got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I have children and shit.
See you in hell.
Yep.